So my name's Caitlyn Dunnigan. I have been coming to the church on and off for quite some time with my grandma, between being at college and when I'd visit her, or even when I was younger before I even graduated high school. God has always been a consistent part of my life, but time and time again, I've turned my back to him. I used to describe God as a mean kid with a magnifying glass, and, I was a little ant on the ground, and, he was burning me, right? Because it was always easier to blame him for the things that have happened in my life than it was to work through them, or see the fault in anyone else or sin or anything like that. Between miscarriages and sexual assaults and things in my life just not going the way I ever had planned, it was always his fault. And it took me a very long time to recognize and understand that even though I turned away from God, God never turned away from me, and that he was always walking in that journey with me. And I'm just finally at the point where I'm just ready to accept him into my life, into my heart, and really acknowledge him walking with me. There was a big part of my life and a big period where I didn't believe in God. I believed that there was something out there, but I didn't know what it was. And with all the hate and anger that I had for God, it was easier for me to not believe in him than it was to believe in somebody that was just continuing to let me down. I had an attempted suicide when I was 15. And that was a huge turning point in the relationship that I had with my grandma. And that was a huge turning point too, in, how I saw God. Because there was nothing after I ingested everything that I did. But my grandma is someone that I've always had a lot of respect for and a lot of high regard for. So I've always listened to her, but I haven't always heard her. And here recently, I've really started to hear the things that she's had to say about God, and really take to heart the things that she has to say. She always tells all of us that she's going to ask us if we want to go to church with her, but it's never something that she expects out of anybody. And when I started coming to church with her, that was the first time I really ever saw God for who he is, right? And I found myself getting emotional at every single service, whether it was at the end of the sermon, or during worship time. But a lot of it had to do too with the work that I'm doing and seeing how God is working not only in my life, but the work that I'm doing with a lot of the kids and the families that I work with. I actually do foster case management for the state of Missouri. So kids that have come into care, I work with those families so that the kids can go back home. The thing that I think that's resonated the most with me is hearing that I'm not alone. I've walked a lot of my life feeling like I'm alone between depression, anxiety, right? My own battles, my own demons. But hearing that I'm not alone and that God is always with me, whether I feel him there or not, was something that really resonated with me and really changed the way I started to think about God. The ripple effect that my faith has had is it's given me a lot of self and inner peace. I've experienced a lot of self-hatred over the years. But just being able to have those intimate conversations with God have enabled me to stop hating so much and stop having so much hatred in my heart. And it's just enabled me to feel more comfortable to talk about God. And to not feel like I don't know, right? Because I've gone through my spiritual journey not knowing, everything I feel there is to know about God. And I don't think I will ever know everything there is to know about God and faith and everything like that. But it's not made me feel so much of an outsider looking in. I feel that it's really important for me to share my story and for me to make that stand publicly, so that, not only am I holding myself accountable, but I have others that are close to me in my life that can hold me accountable as well.